I'm here with Alexander Mercouris, editor-in-chief of the Duran. Alexander, we have a new scandal that's brewing with the Democrats and the Adam Schiffs of the Democrat Party, who are now, just going absolutely crazy about what appears to be Trump speaking to a world leader to be named later. Let me lay out this new scandal that has, Trump derangement syndrome, on a scale of 11 now in the Democrat Party. And this is the scandal, Alexander. I'm going to read it to you straight from Zero Hedge because I think they do a good job of summing it up. All right, here we go. Here's the scandal. It appears that Trump may have made promises to newly minted Ukrainian president Volodymyr Zelensky, very likely involving an effort to convince Ukraine to reopen its investigation into Joe Biden and his son Hunter, after Biden strong-armed Ukraine's prior government into firing its top prosecutor, something Trump and his attorney Rudy Giuliani have pursued for months. There are also unsupported rumors that Trump threatened to withhold $250 million in aid to help Ukraine fight Russian-backed separatists. So Alexander, in a nutshell, that's his scandal. Trump, from what we understand, had a call with Zelensky. They talked about Biden and his son Hunter and all the corrupt dealings they were having in Ukraine. This was, Trump may have said he's going to withhold some money, maybe not. We really don't know. This is all speculation right now. And this was given to us by an intelligence agency whistleblower. Alexander, this is, I don't want to say the word nothing burger, but I don't understand why everyone's going crazy over this. If anything, this is going to end up destroying Joe Biden.
Absolutely, because what it is going to do is draw attention to what is the real scandal in this story, which is not what Donald Trump may or may not have said to President Zelensky of Ukraine, but what Joe Biden was doing in Ukraine between 2013 and 2016. Now, let's just remember what Joe Biden was doing during that period of time. We've discussed it at very great length in our previous videos, but I'll just summarize it. Joe Biden at that time was the vice president of the United States in Barack Obama's administration. He was also the point man who was in charge of the US's Ukrainian policy. As the person running the US's Ukrainian policy, he supported the violent uprising in Ukraine against the democratically elected constitutional president of Ukraine, Viktor Yanukovych, and he also supported the replacement of Yanukovych by this government that was formed as a result of that uprising, coup, if you like, which came to be led by Petro Poroshenko, who was until recently the president of Ukraine, the pro-American president of Ukraine. Now, at the same time that Biden was doing all these things, his son, Hunter Biden, was involved in businesses which were involved in exploiting Ukraine's gas and energy complex and making millions of dollars through his involvement in those businesses. So there would appear to be there's every appearance here of a major conflict of interest. Now, we've learned since that there's also been swirling allegations of corruption, and that as vice president of the United States, Joe Biden was instrumental in arranging the dismissal of the Ukrainian investigator, the Ukrainian procurator, who was engaged in investigating that corruption. So that, it seems to me, is the scandal. The discussion, whatever went on between Donald Trump on the one hand and Zelensky on the other, I can't see that it's a scandal at all. On the contrary, it bears every appearance to me of the normal discussions that take place between political leaders, in which they ask each other for political favors as they work for the interests of their own countries.
Yeah, the top prosecutor, Alexander, that Biden wanted fired was Viktor Shokin, and
Yeah.
he got him fired.
He got him fired.
And he bragged about it on video.
Exactly. Now, that is the scandal. Where is the fault in Donald Trump wanting that scandal investigated?
Legally, Alexander, if a person in a prominent position says, I want this guy fired, otherwise I'm not going to do this for you or give you this, is that not just clear-cut, slam-dunk corruption? I mean, let me read you Biden's quote, what he said in that video.
Yeah.
This is coming from Joe Biden, video camera rolling. He wanted to telegraph this to the world. He wasn't hiding his corruption. He said, I said, you're not getting the billion. I'm going to be leaving here in, I think it was about 6 hours. I looked at them and said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor is not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch, he got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid at that time. This was what Biden said to the Council on Foreign Relations event. He's bragging about this shakedown, about this corruption.
Yes, he is. It's not just a shakedown. I mean, it looks to me very much like obstruction of justice, a word we've heard an awful lot about, by the way, in connection with Donald Trump, because it seems as if this man was sacked to prevent him investigating Joe Biden's own son.
Well, but Biden says it.
Biden says it, exactly. So there it is. Now, if Joe Biden is entitled to threaten Ukraine with loss of $1 billion unless they sack someone in order to protect his son, as I said, that's legally wrong. That's, as I said, looks to me like obstruction of justice. How is it illegal? How is it any kind of obstruction of justice to tell the President of the United States, Donald Trump, to say, I want that investigation, which was previously obstructed, I want it to proceed? I can't see a problem. I can't see any legal issue in relation to what Donald Trump says. I see plenty of legal issues in relation to what Joe Biden openly bragged about.
Before I read you Trump's quote on this, because Trump seems pretty confident as to his position, I'll read you his quote. Are the Democrats trying to derail Joe Biden because they know he can't beat Trump and he's a complete disaster? And if he somehow ends up winning the Democrat nomination for presidency, there's no way he's going to be able to withstand that type of campaign regiment and going into debates with Trump. Are they trying to actually derail him at this point? Because this is going to boomerang right back in Biden's face and crush him and his son, Hunter Biden, and expose a whole world of corruption that those two have been up to. And it's irrefutable. It's irrefutable.
Yeah, absolutely. My own guess, actually, is that whoever is behind this leak is actually trying to protect Biden. Biden has a lot of friends, clearly has a lot of friends within the intelligence community. As for the Democrats, I think they're heavily divided about Biden.
How's he trying?
Because they're trying to make out that this is Donald Trump abusing his power as president to pursue a political persecution of his enemies, of his political rivals. So they're trying to say Donald Trump did something illegal and improper by this call, and that this is somehow means, I think, that he shouldn't interfere in the investigation processes in Ukraine, even though, of course, That's exactly what Biden himself did. But I think that's the rather clumsy and inept agenda that someone is trying to follow. Now, can I just say, there are some people in the Democratic Party who consistently get Donald Trump or entirely wrong. And they are, as you rightly said at the beginning of our program, this is another example of Trump derangement syndrome. And apparently, we're now hearing reports that there's been a huge row before the Democratic Party caucus in the House between Pelosi, the Speaker, and the leader of the caucus, and Jerry Nadler, in which Pelosi accused Nadler of having a kind of Captain Ahab complex about Trump, seeking constantly to reasons to impeach him. And in the end, all that is doing is constantly backfiring against the Democrats. And I think what we see with this leak is something like that. I think there are plenty of Democrats who understand perfectly well that Joe Biden is not the person who's going to defeat Donald Trump. But I don't think they've yet decided who is going to take over from him. And as I said, there are still some establishment Democrats and some people in the intelligence community who are still trying to protect Biden. That's my own assessment.
Yeah, I think that Trump and Giuliani are going to dig in their heels. They're going to want this exposed because they know that the more public this news story, becomes, the more it disseminates out to a wider audience, the more people will understand or be exposed to what Joe Biden and Hunter Biden were doing in Ukraine, and conversely also China, because there's a China connection as well with Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. I mean, this father and son team were running quite a racket, and they were making a lot of money, Alexander. And you have the IMF involved. You have all kinds of loans being dished out to Ukraine. You have a lot of money laundering. I mean, we're talking billions of dollars, U.S. taxpayer dollars being funneled into countries like Ukraine and making their way back, moving from Ukraine to Cyprus to other offshore locations and making their way back to the United States. This needs to get investigated. If it does get investigated, boy, oh boy, are a lot of people going to go down.
Well, can I just say, Donald Trump won the election in part under the slogan, drain the swamp. It seems to me that what the Democrats are doing is giving him every opportunity to win that election again on the same slogan. Because, I mean, this is the swamp. I mean, it's exactly what you said. It's people going to, and I don't want to make particular. We haven't had a full investigation of this case, though, frankly, the facts look terrible. I mean, what we've seen of the facts looks terrible. But investigating all of this is going to expose, I am sure, lots of things, because whatever the Bidens were up to, lots of other people were up to also.
There's a money trail.
Absolutely. There is no doubt about it. Absolutely. And can I just say, I mean, I have knowledge of events in Eastern Europe, over these periods. I mean, I know about some of the things that were going on. I mean, I don't want to talk about them, but I know about. I mean, we have whole stories about how Harvard academics were coming to Moscow in the 90s and making an absolute killing out of doing carpetbag stuff in Moscow and doing exactly the kind of things we're talking about. With the Bidens, lots of this sort of thing was going on. Now, if you try and cover it up, which is what some Democrats and some people in the intelligence community and some people in the media are doing, then, as I said, all you're going to do is you're going to give Donald Trump even more of an opportunity to run with this slogan of drain the swamp. And, I think it's going to win him the election.
And let's not forget that it was Ukraine and Petro Poroshenko who were actually meddling on the side of Hillary Clinton. Let's not forget Paul Manafort and the black book of Paul Manafort being, given by, I believe it was Alexandra, what was her name? Chalupta?
That's right. Yes.
Chalupa, yup, Alexandra Chalupa, who
Yeah.
had that black book of Paul Manafort's, and she got it into the public domain and the public space as well. And this was, I think Trump has not forgotten this.
No, of course he hasn't
what was happening.
Of course he hasn't forgotten it, and he's out for revenge. And I mean, he's a human being, and it's not surprising. But I mean, it doesn't alter the fact that there is something to be investigated here. I mean, a president of the United States should be encouraging Ukraine to investigate corruption. I mean, in any sane world, if the United States really was what it claims to be, the shining city on the hill, that is what the President of the United States should be doing. That is what Donald Trump, the President of the United States, appears to have been doing in this case. Does it really matter what his motives are?
No, and it shouldn't matter if that person in question is running for the presidency of the United States either.
Well, of course not. Exactly. So, I mean, at the end of the day, either you are against corruption in places like Ukraine, in which case you should want things like this investigated, or you are not.
Well, let me read you Trump's quote and we'll wrap it up here. And it seems that Trump is pretty confident as to what's going on here with this story. So here's Trump's tweet, actually, that he sent out regarding this. Another fake news story out there. It never ends. Virtually any time I speak on the phone to a foreign leader, I understand that there may be many people listening from various U.S. agencies, not to mention those from the other country itself. No problem. Knowing all of this, is anybody dumb enough to believe that I would say something inappropriate with a foreign leader while on such a potentially heavily populated call? I would only do what is right anyway, and only do good for the USA.
I would only do what is right anyway, and I will only do good for the USA. Well, there it is. I don't think Donald Trump is comfortable with this situation. I think he's delighted with this situation. It plays directly into his likely agenda come the presidential election. The swamp has fought him, and they're fighting him again on precisely the territory where they are most vulnerable, which is corruption.
Well put. Alexander Mercouris, editor-in-chief of the Duran. Thank you very much. Guys, if you like this video, click on the subscribe button down below. Click on the notifications bell to make sure you get notifications every time we push out a new video. And you can get an audio copy of this video as well. Follow us on iTunes and on SoundCloud. You will find a link in the description box down below. And please donate to the Duran on PayPal, Patreon, and Subscribestar. Your donation helps keep this channel up and running. You will find a link for those platforms in the description box as well. And also go to the Duran shop, theduranshop.com, and pick up some magic mugs that will do wonders for everything in your life, and some magic shirts as well.
They do. They absolutely do. I mean, if you drink from these mugs, well, as I said, your geopolitical understanding, your grasp of complex legal issues, your sense of politics, your ability to analyze and understand these intricate conspiracies and plots that we have to unpack every day in the videos that we will do, well, it will be enhanced immeasurably. How else can we, Alex and I, manage this in these many programs that we do? We do it because we drink from these beautiful mugs, 15 ounces, beautifully made, light, strong, wonderful porcelain body. We have great badges on these. This is the one of the Russian Federation, as you will find on the mugs Vladimir Putin drinks from. And this is, of course, the mug which has the badge of Alpha Force, Russia's elite special forces unit, comparable to the SAS, the British SAS, and the Navy SEALs. So these are marvelous mugs. These are marvelous shirts. The one I'm wearing at the moment, this great polo shirt, 100% cotton, beautifully dyed. our own double-headed eagle embroidered in gold, um, looking both to the east and the west as we do on our programs. We have great, fantastic shirts. I wear them in all sorts of places, in all sorts of occasions. My wife loves them in them. Other people who see them comment on how great I look in them. And you can be wearing a shirt like this and looking as fantastic as I do when you go to our shop, and you'll find all sorts of other shirts there too. You'll find t-shirts, you'll find long sleeve t-shirts, you'll find hoodies, you'll find hats, you'll find stickers, you'll find books about Russiagate, you'll find books about Brexit, you'll find all sorts of great things. Alex has just refreshed our shop with new products. The feedback from our customers is phenomenal. Some of our competitors are flattering us by trying to imitate our products and producing very bad copies of them. So go to our shop, get the original, the high quality, excellent original, help the Duran, help yourself. Alex will tell you how to do it.
Just go to the Duran shop, theduranshop.com. You will find the link in the description box down below. Alexander Mercouris, editor-in-chief of the Duran. Thank you very much. Till next time, everybody. Take care.